Hello and welcome to my channel, Distinctive Crochet. My name is Priscilla and I'm like to thank all my new subscribers for coming to check me out and all my returning subscribers for spending some time with me. Alright everyone, so today we are back for the first part in the tutorial for getting started with knitting from a crocheter's perspective. So what I have done is I have made a chain of 84, and what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go ahead and make sure my chain is not twisted, and I'm going to join them together. However, though, I do want to work in these back bumps, so I'm going to try to make sure that those are on the outside. So I'm just going to run my hand down the chain like this just to make sure it's not twisted, and then I'm going to slip stitch to join right into that back first back bump right next to that slip knot. Alright, so I'm just going to slip stitch to join right in there. Okay, now that's all we need for the crochet hook. I'm sorry, the other materials that we're using is this number 4 worsted weight yarn. I have the Big Twist Sincerely yarn in the color Oatmeal Heather. So you will probably need about 150 yards of that at least. A pair of scissors, a yarn needle, and a stitch marker. Also a measuring tape. So I can tell that this is the beginning of my round because of my tail, but at the same time, if this is new to you, it's not a bad idea to go ahead and put a stitch marker at the beginning so you know when you have completed your round, and then you can move that up with every round as needed. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and push those over to the side, and you will also be needing a pair of circular knitting needles. It is the 16-inch cord, and you're going to need the 5mm needles. Okay, so to get started, all we're going to do is we're just going to take that first loop and put our needle right through there, and now we're just going to go through the back bumps, and we're just going to stick our needle through the back bump, and then we're going to pick up our yarn. We're going to use the needle to pick up our yarn, and that will draw up a loop. Okay, so I'm going to do that really slow one more time. So all I'm doing is inserting my needle into that loop, the back bump of that chain. So that front side is the side with the V's, and then the back side is the one with the little bumps. Okay, so this just makes it really easy for us to find our stitches, where we need to go into in the chain. So we're just going to go right through there, and I'm just holding my yarn tight as if I was crocheting, and then I'm just going to pick up a loop just like that. Okay, so you want to go ahead and do that for each of those back bumps all the way around. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and continue mine, and then I will meet you back when I have all of my loops on my needle. So I just want to pull it up. Okay, and just do that all the way around. And then you can just push your stitches down as needed down the needle. And I'm back, so I just have this last stitch to go right here, so I'm just going to go ahead and pick up that last stitch and bring this yarn through. Okay, why is this giving me a hard time? Alright, there we go. Okay, So now I have all of my 84 stitches on my needles, and this is what it looks like so far. So just take the time to go around and make sure that your chain is at the bottom of your needle so that your stitches don't come out twisted. Alright, so that is looking pretty good right now. Okay, so now now that we have this together, we have all of our stitches on the needle. You should have 84 stitches, so go ahead and give those a count. If you don't have the 84 stitches, make sure you picked up each of those back bumps on your chain. Okay, so once you have those 84 stitches, the next thing I want to do is show you how to hold your yarn for this Portuguese style technique. All right, so since we have our yarn on our needles, what we're going to do now is we're just going to take the yarn that's connected to this needle here, and then we're just going to wrap that around our neck. So that will be coming around over on my left side, and then I will hold the working yarn on the right side of my hand, and then I will take that and put it right in between my finger like that, and then I'm just gonna bring it down, and then you can see that I have really nice tension on the yarn. So you can pluck it like that and it'll have a nice little bounce to it. That's the kind of tension that you want to have, and that's what makes it really easy on your hands and really nice to knit. Okay, so really quickly before I get started, if over your neck is bothersome to you, there are knitting pins available. So here is what one of the knitting pins looks like. So all you would have to do is you just take the knitting pin and you would place it up high on your shirt. You want to place it up really nice and high so that you can have that good tension as well. And instead of having it on your neck, you would still wrap it the same way, but you would just have it going over the knitting pin. And then you want to make sure that you have that really good tension. Okay, so I prefer mine on my neck, so I'm just going to wrap that around. So make sure you have it the way I was showing you. And so you're going to have your working yarn in your right hand, and then the needles in your or the yarn that is attached to the needles coming from the right side. Okay, so all I'm doing is I just have it in between my fingers, and then I'm just grabbing it like that. If you need more tension, you could wrap it around your pinky a couple times and then put it through and grab it like that. But for me, it's comfortable just like that, just to have it and hold it. So however you feel comfortable, that's what you need to do. So you do want to be relaxed when you're doing this, because it is really easy to tension up and get tight, and you don't want to do that because then that will give you a cramp in your hands as well. But we're going to go ahead and get started with the knit stitch. Okay, so all we're learning today is the knit stitch. Every stitch we'll be doing is knitted. Okay, so all you're going to do is you're going to take your right hand needle that's connected to the yarn, and you're going to make sure that the yarn is coming from the back of the needle. Okay, so here is the back of the needle, and the yarn is coming right from there, so I'm in the right placement. Okay, it's important for your yarn to be back here, because if it's not, then you will do some other technique in knitting, and that's not what we're learning right now. So we just want to make sure that our yarn is coming from the back of the needle, so it's going over on top of our needle. Okay, so this is how we're looking right now. Once you have all of that in position, we're ready to go ahead. So we're going to take our right hand needle, which is connected to the yarn. We're going to come over to the side of the left side of the stitch that is on the left hand needle. We're going to insert it just like that. Okay, so all this stitch is just like a loop. It's like a loop over the needle. All right, so we just want to insert it in between that loop. Okay, so we're going to go from the left side in and on top of the other needle. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that one more time. So we're going to go over to the left hand needle and come in on the left side and in through that loop and place our needles on top, our right hand needle on top of the left. So this is what it looks like so far. So we have our needle tips crossed, and now we're ready to wrap our yarn to make our first stitch. So all you're going to do is you're just going to simply flick your yarn with your thumb around that needle. Now what that did is it tucked the yarn in between these two crossed needles. And it's important to have your tension here, because if it's too loose, it's not your needle won't grab the yarn, okay? It's possible with the needle, even though it's not a hook. I know our hooks are our favorite tools here, but it's possible, okay? So as long as you have your tension, that will work for you, okay? So what we're going to do is I'm just going to show you that one more time. So we have our needle inserted into our stitch, and now we're just going to flick the yarn with our thumb over in between. Now that we have our yarn position in place, we're going to take the same right hand needle, we're going to slide it down slightly, we're going to go under the stitch, and we're going to go up and over and pull that stitch off the needle. Okay, now that did create a stitch. So here is the original stitch that was on our needle right here, and then on top of the right hand needle is our new stitch that we just made. Okay, so I'm just going to take that off and show you guys one more time. All right, so we're going to go from the left side into the stitch, and then we're going to wrap our yarn. We're going to slide that needle down and pull that stitch off. Now you want to let the needles do the work, because your fingers can get in there. That was something for me. My fingers were doing all the work and they got really tired really quickly. Okay, so you want to make sure you let the needles do the work. So if you need to push up your stitches, which you will need to do from time to time as you make more stitches, and you also need to slide these back. All right, so let's go ahead and do some more stitches. So we're going to take our right hand needle, bring it over to the left side of that stitch, put it in between, place the needle on top, flick the yarn with our thumb, slide our right hand needle down underneath the stitch, and then slide that stitch right off the needle. Okay, so we're going to do a couple more. So we're going to go in onto the left side of the stitch. We're going to flick the yarn with our thumb, slide the right hand needle down, and bring that stitch right off the needle. Okay, so this is a really nice and easy motion. It doesn't cause a lot of stress on your hands if you do it properly. And as you go along and get comfortable with the motion, it's actually a good way to knit faster. So this will also help you improve your speed in knitting. So if you don't knit, if you already knit, I would suggest trying this way as well, because you can get, your hands will be less stressed, and also you can knit a little bit faster. Okay, so I'm just going to do a few more stitches with you guys, and then if you still need a little bit more practice, you can always go back to the beginning of this video, or at least when I start showing you the stitches, and then go ahead and watch the video from there, and you'll be able to rewind as many times as you need. Okay, and as you keep going along, you're just going to keep pushing those stitches down and bringing these stitches up. Okay, so I think I'm just going to try to go a little bit faster and show you and start the next round with you guys, and then I'll probably end the video here. So let me see if I can just get through this round, and you just kind of got to shift your stitches around and bring these up as you go, and you're making sure that your what is this finger, my this is my pointer finger, or is that index, my index finger. Okay, so my index finger is sliding my stitches up on this side and sliding them back on the right side. So on the left side, I'm sliding them up, and on the right side, I'm sliding them back. So that is something that you would have to practice and let your fingers get used to doing. But it's a really smooth way to knit, and I really enjoy this way. I was not able to catch on to the continental style of knitting. I did try it out a little bit, but it really cramped my fingers up, and the English style felt a little bit more comfortable for me, or they call it throwing. So those are the other styles of knitting that I have tried out. But this is a really smooth style, and once you get the hang of it, I'm sure you'll love it. So, and I'm really excited to be sharing with you all how to do this style, because sometimes when I see other people knitting, I feel like I'm cheating, because this just seems like it's so nice. I really like this style. But yes, and you do have to be careful, because you don't want to poke yourself, because I have, when I use sharper needles for like sock knitting, I have actually poked a hole in my finger. So you want to make sure that you're letting the needles do the work. And I use my index finger, like I was saying, to hold those stitches down, and to slide them back as I go a little bit faster with the knitting. But as you go along, you just want to make sure you don't pick up those bad habits. You want to try to make sure you're letting those needles do the work, and that way you won't get holes in your fingers. But this is no, there you go. So that just means I need to push these down, and I need to push these up, and then I won't have to do that. So I just have a few more stitches to go, and then I'll be at the beginning of my round again. All right, so I have made it to the end of my round, and now just to start the next round, you're just going to do the same thing. So you're just going to go right into that stitch, and you're just going to keep going around and around. Now if you need to, you can go ahead and move your stitch marker up to the next stitch, and that way it'll be there, it'll be more visible for you to see. I'm probably not going to do that for mine, because I know my tail is my where I started at. But all you want to do is you just want to keep knitting around and around until you measure at about 7 inches of knitting. Once you measure at 7 inches of knitting, I will come back, and then I will show you guys how to do a few decreases in the hat, and then we're just going to cinch it closed. And then we'll come back in another video to show you how to do the purl stitches, so that we can do some ribbing on the hat. All right, so just go ahead and work that up for about 7 inches, and I will meet you back for a few decreases. All right, so I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial so far. We're not done yet. We'll be back in a few just to show you how to do a few decreases and cinch up the top. And then in another video, we'll learn how to do the purling stitches. All right, guys, so I will be back when I have my 7 inches. Alright everyone, I just decided to go ahead and end the video here. So in part 2, we will go ahead and do those decreases and cinch up the top of our hat, as well as learn the purl stitch and do the ribbing for the brim of the hat. So thank you again for coming along with me on this learn how to knit journey, and I hope you all were able to find this helpful to you, and I will see you in part 2 to finish off our hat. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.